All right, we're good. Welcome to another episode of Real Well Radio. I'm here with Dave Dipaolo, who is the owner of, I got my paper out here, Maximus Internet Marketing, Mindset, Artistry, and DIY Digital.
Yes, sir.
All right, so what we like to do before we get into the business aspect and, you can give us some tips on SEO and that type of stuff is just kind of give us, your backstory. I don't know, maybe back up to like the end of high school and just kind of, let us know how you got here through college.
Yeah, absolutely.
My scumbag friend.
Yeah. We can do a whole nother podcast just on him alone. But so graduated high school in 97. I went to school for business originally at Shippensburg and was going for hotel and restaurant management until I worked at a restaurant at college and worked at a hotel when I came home that summer. Realized that was the last thing that I wanted to do in life. Failed out, got back in, kind of failed out again, transferred to IUP, met Connor, met you guys.
Where were you prior to IUP?
Shippensburg.
Shippensburg.
Yeah. Then ended up going for marketing at that point. Marketing was a totally different thing then. It's not, the internet wasn't really around. It was still Netscape. Dial up, the whole nine, Google, advertising, none of that was a thing. Websites, didn't really matter. Graduated marketing degree, came out. Only job that I can actually get at the time was at Enterprise Rental Cars, like management trainee program.
I know a lot of people that.
Yeah, so that was like, job market was like total shit when I came out of school.
When did you graduate?
03.
Me too.
So did that for about a year and then actually went to Verizon Yellow Pages, which was still around then. So was there for about a year, actually left and went to yellowpages.com with my buddy Lance. Left there when he started One SEO. I was there for 4 years and then started my own company in 2013 from there, doing all the same stuff. So, SEO, Google advertising, pay-per-click, social media advertising. Try not to do too many websites, but websites. And the industry just consistently changes and stay on top of it. And it's been a wild ride.
Right. So 2013 for the internet marketing company. When did you start the Mindset Artistry?
Yeah, so it's funny because that kind of shifted a lot, right? So originally I had started that around like the pandemic, and it was supposed to be an apparel company. So originally it was Mindset Apparel Company, and my vision was let's come out with a clothing brand, eventually have a podcast, and just through a lot of growing pains and realizing maybe I wasn't ready for an apparel company.
That's tough.
It's a crazy industry, right? And because you remember when I sent you the shirts, that was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So
was it really 4 years?
Yeah, because it would have been 2020. So instead, I kind of completely shifted with it and said, all right, let's kind of start doing some short form videos, posting them on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Got a pretty decent following. It was good. I was accomplishing what I wanted to do, and people reaching out. I was helping people, getting good feedback. A lot of people inboxing me, and so I was like, all right, well, now I want to start the podcast. And so I did that. I'm like two episodes in. Eventually, I'll probably get into apparel and that kind of stuff. But that's going to be like phase 3.
Yeah, I guess. Now that we're thinking about talking about, I guess you kind of did it backwards.
Yeah.
Because who's going to want to buy
shit? Yeah, exactly, right. And that was the whole thing. Like, I wanted it to be a community of like-minded people with a good mindset that would, want to wear these clothes because that's what their mind's about, right? But yeah, if no one knows who the hell you are, I'd be spending a fortune in advertising trying to get it out there. Right. So went this route instead, got the podcast going. So that's something that's been more on the newer side. I put 2 episodes in the last 2 weeks, and just getting that off the ground.
And what's it called?
Mindset Artistry podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, so
and you could be found. You told me on YouTube and Spotify.
Yeah, YouTube, Spotify, and then all the social media. So Twitter, LinkedIn, Not LinkedIn. I didn't do that yet. Twitter, TikTok. Hopefully they don't ban it, and Facebook, Instagram. And it's not Twitter anymore, right? It's X, formerly known as Twitter. But yeah. So and actually, if you go to shiftyourmindset.com, that will take you to like a link tree of everything for Mindset Artistry. So that keeps it simple. All the social media accounts are on there, and then get the podcast.
Have you had periods of time on like TikTok where you were banned for stuff?
I've only had a couple videos actually getting taken down. Usually it was like a copyright thing, like you used a song or something like that.
I got you.
Yeah, but nothing where I was ever like video completely taken down from them. But yeah, I mean the government's talking about banning it completely, which is crazy. Then the other DIY digital is something that I kind of got started this year as well, just because I'm in the marketing industry. Times are a little tough for people, right? Like, not every business owner has a marketing budget or can kind of set those funds aside. So
Right.
What I wanted to do with this was give out some kind of free tools, free advice, where I'll go on and post videos, kind of helping business owners of some things that they'll be able to do themselves. And then eventually, probably in the next like 30 days, I'm going to come out with some courses that are very affordable for people, for business owners to be able to do some of these marketing things
For like
themselves.
SEO and
Just a little bit of SEO, but more on like the ad side of things that they can
Okay.
actually go on and do things because not everyone has the money to pay an agency, $1,000 a month for SEO, $1,500 a month for SEO, or $500 a month to manage their ads, but they have time. Right. So
Yeah.
if they say, hey, I have a budget that I can use, but I need that to go towards the ads, how the hell do I do it?
Right.
So that's kind of my vision with that. And, just trying to help, business owners that, look, we all started off somewhere and, there's not a lot of tools out there for them to kind of do these things themselves without paying a lot of money for something that might be out of their budget.
Yeah, I mean that's huge for like new business owners to be able to learn that kind of stuff. The guy that I had on last just started his own, carpet cleaning, all kinds of stuff. And, we had a conversation just like we're having, but it was all about like, I wish I would have known. I wish I would have known. I wish I would have known. And like we learn that stuff by failing. But if you could provide something like that, and then you automatically, once they are up and running and ready to go, it's probably a customer you get for your regular marketing.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I didn't think about that at transition, and that kind of wasn't the goal. But yeah, I mean, absolutely, that's something I can talk about, and that's the thing. Like you just said, like usually you start a business, you make these mistakes. That's how you learn. But if you can shave off someone's like learning curve and help them get ahead, yeah, I mean, it's priceless. It really is. So
that's good stuff. Like what was like back in 2013? Like what were some of the major stumbling blocks that you had getting everything rolling with the marketing company?
So I was fine on the skill side of it and all that, but it's just getting new clients at that point, right? And I wasn't. Lance from One SEO was a great friend of mine. Like I wasn't going to go after his clients or anything like that. So like I never had a non-compete clause or anything like that. But like I wouldn't do that to a friend, right? So everything that I had to do at that point, I had to generate on myself, whether it be my own marketing, networking, all that stuff. But at the same time, the biggest challenge was I still had a mortgage to pay. I still had bills to pay. I still had car insurance, all that. I went from making really good money to nothing. So in between that, and this is something that I was able to do at that time, and why I wanted to do it at that time was I wasn't married. I didn't have a kid. So what I had was time. So I was working like crazy odd jobs to just pay the bills at that point, and then put the other time.
Like what?
Oh God, man!
What
Shoveling snow at a landscaping business. Yeah, my buddy had a safe and vault removal company, which he still has, and I help him now with his marketing. But they had crazy hours, which we would start at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. sometimes, work till like 9. I would come home, pass out till about 12, and then work on Maximus Internet Marketing after that.
That's awesome.
Just all kinds of stuff like that. Painting, someone needed painting done, like just like anything.
You do what you had to do.
Yeah, man. But that just taught like a crazy kind of work ethic, and like whatever this is, I'm going to do it. Like I don't care who tells me I can't. I don't care what's stacked against me. I'm going to figure out a way to make this work. And then eventually I got enough clients where I was like, okay, this is paying my bills. I can sustain this. And probably took about a year to kind of get to that point, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good stuff. I mean, with real estate, it's similar. Like, even if you do have a client right out the gate when you do get licensed, like even if you get them under contract the day you get licensed, like you're looking at 30 to 45 days before a paycheck, but that never happens. So it's usually about 6 months, and then once you get one client, it's like, okay, now I'm done. And you get to continue to, and it takes a long time, so you're definitely not alone with having to, scrape things together. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of business owners could learn from that, and also just understand that's what it's going to be to start. Like,
and not only that, like, it's okay.
Yeah, it's going to be hard.
It's awesome to like push through that kind of stuff and not have to just give up. But like you said, not having the family and the kids.
If I were to have to do that right now with my son being almost 4 years old, a wife, a much bigger mortgage, I'd be terrified.
Right.
So at the time, it worked out good though. But yeah, it's not supposed to be easy. Starting a business, getting through it. I mean, 20% of businesses are out of business in the first year. 50% don't make it to year 5, and then when you get to 10 years, where I'm 11 years in, I think 65% of them don't make it that long.
87-ish% of realtors after 2 years are out of the business.
Wow.
Damn. It's not like it is on Netflix.
Yeah.
But all right, so this is also about wellness for entrepreneurship, and I know like you're big into mindset stuff, and that's beautiful. But like, what's like your daily routine, like in the morning?
So it's the same thing every day almost. I wake up at 4 a.m. Alarm clock goes off. I get up, like it's not negotiable. And like today I woke up at 2:30 and I couldn't go back to sleep. And I was like, I'm just gonna stay up. But I'll get up, go downstairs. I'll drink my hydrogen water, drink my pre-workout. I call it my science water. But turn that thing blue, drink my pre-workout. I have a gym in my basement.
What kind of pre-workout? Because I
use Jocko Fuel.
Okay.
It's actually kind of healthy for you, and it's pretty good. I get that and like this one like BCAA together, and I do. That's what I usually. It works good. Go down right after that. I'm working out from probably about 4:15 until probably pretty close to 6.
So you just get up at 4 a.m. and you're working out by 4:15.
Yeah.
I'm just like dead until
Once you get into it though, and the big part is you got to go to bed at a reasonable hour too. Like I wouldn't do that if I was going to bed at midnight.
Right.
I'm in bed probably by 8:30, 9. So you get a decent amount of sleep, and then you get accustomed to doing that. So it's that workout. I have a sauna in my basement. I do that. When I'm in my sauna, I kind of go through like
those zip ups.
No. It's like a
real
one. Yeah. Well, it's Amazon. It was only like $1,500. But so I do that. I have kind of like a little mantra of like things that I go through while I'm in there, and that completely gets me ready for the day. And go upstairs, get a shower, take my kid to daycare, and get back usually about 7:30 and just start working.
That's good stuff. Like the hardest thing for me, I agree, like getting to bed at a reasonable hour, but like once the kids get to a certain age and they're involved in sports, like the practices sometimes don't get over until 9:30. You're getting home, you're just like, I haven't eaten dinner. It's just you adapt.
Yeah.
Right? For me, like it's easier for me to work out in the middle of the day because I try to own my mornings, to like 11:30, 12, and then appointments in the afternoon and at night. It would be nice to knock it out in the morning, but it's tough for me, man. Like I wake up and I am a zombie.
Yeah.
And a lot of days I'm dropping 3 kids off at 3 different schools in the morning.
It's a lot.
It is. It's tough, but it's cool.
It's funny you say that about the sports too, because that's actually I literally had that conversation with my wife like 2 nights ago, because he's going to be 4 and he can get into school. He can get into we're going to do like a fall t-ball, and I'm like, man, like some of these practices and games are late.
Fall
like
t-ball?
Because it's like fall ball or something like that. But we're like, what the hell are we going to do? Like, if I come home at 10, my whole shit's going to be completely off. And,
you've learned to adapt to things over the last, 10 years. So, I mean, you'll definitely
figure it out, right? Yeah. But the working out in the morning is way better for me, because as my day goes on, like, I never know what the hell's going to happen. And there might be fires I have to put out, or I got to step in for an employee. And then as the day goes on, I'm getting more tired. So I'm like, maybe we don't have to work out today. So that's why it's easy for me to just knock it out.
That makes sense. For someone, you've really covered a lot of things obstacles that you overcame, things that you pushed through. But if there was like one or two pieces of advice for someone starting any business today, marketing, real estate, whatever.
Yeah.
What would they be?
First, like what we were just talking about, it's not going to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. Don't give up. It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't, everyone would do it. You got to know that. You got to understand that, and you just got to push through. I mean, just keep pushing. The next thing is, and this is for me probably the most important part of business, is you have to have full, total accountability for everything. Everything's your fault. If you mess up, it's obviously your fault. If something goes wrong that you're trying to provide as a product or a service, it's your fault. If your staff does something wrong, messes something up, it's your fault. You didn't provide the right support. You didn't put the right systems in place. So at the end of the day, everything is your fault, and that's how you have to treat it. And even if it's not, even if whatever, your roof caves in, it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility.
Right.
So whatever it is, you just got to know that, take total accountability, make everything right, do everything the right way, don't cut corners, that's it. That's how you do it. And once you do that, you'll build up and know, like, all right, this is the right way to do things. I'm doing this to help people or whatever it is. And when I do that the right way and I have total accountability, I can't lose. And all the other stuff kind of just, you're gonna mess up, you're gonna learn from it, and that's just it. Like, that's how you got to do it.
Do the best you can with the information you have, and learn from your mistakes. So a conversation that I've been having a lot lately with new business owners is their first hire.
Mm-hmm.
At what point and how hard was it for you to not only hire someone, but then begin to delegate and worry about how they would handle situations that subconsciously you're just going to be able to do like that?
It's a great question because it's so dead on.
Yeah.
You have to trust them, number one, until they give you a reason not to trust them, right? And you have to understand what people are good at and what they're not good at. So if you try to put someone into a role or have them do something that they're just not good enough at, or you just haven't trained them enough on, you're setting them up for failure. So you have to make sure that you're putting them in the right position, also giving them the support that they need, and then from there you kind of can work on what they're better at, what they're not. Another part of it is, like, whoever you're hiring to do something, it's freeing you up to do the things that you're either better at or that you like to do. So a lot of companies have a hard time with that transition, thinking like, I could do what they're doing. Why would I want to pay someone? But you got to understand that whatever your time is worth, you could do that stuff now that you're better at, that's going to help the company move forward because you're giving them these responsibilities. And then just being able to manage people too, because everyone's different and everyone has a different management style. And just because you're good at something, like just because you're a good business owner, just because you're a good carpet cleaner doesn't mean you're a good business owner. Just because you're a good business owner doesn't mean you're a good manager. So you can deal with someone and completely turn them off into to doing things the right way, being, dialed in, being in on, the culture of the business, just because you're a shitty manager and you don't talk to them right. You got to kind of like read the room. Like, someone needs a little tough love. The other person might not. The other person might need that. It's all right. It's going to be all right.
Right.
So those kind of couple things, like, you gotta work on that stuff yourself too. Like, just because you're giving them a responsibility, like, that doesn't negate your responsibility. Like, you have to continually work on yourself, to work on making the company better, setting them up, having the right processes, training, all that stuff. And when you do that, and that's kind of the tone, that's the best way to have employees.
I think really the first hire for people is probably the biggest obstacle. And a lot of times, there's a lot of virtual assistants out there, stuff like that, just to do invoice paperwork, depending on the business that you're running.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying, like, a lot of entrepreneurs, as far as I know, hate doing the paperwork.
Yeah.
me included. Do you love it?
No, so it was the worst part of it. Yeah.
So like that could be like the first hire just to get that off the plate, because that is very time consuming.
Yeah.
You know, and if you get somebody who is really good at that and actually likes doing that, like it's a game changer.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, for me, the first hire had to be a tech person though that can, you know, at first we were farming out our website, so bringing on a web developer and then having someone like I was doing most of the marketing at the time. But bringing on someone that can actually do the ads, that's a very tedious part for me. The SEO stuff I'm still very involved in, and then you know my project manager now that I have, like there's a lot that I kind of throw at him in different things. But that to me, a project manager is a much more important role to have because they can delegate certain things and kind of you know take a lot of stuff off of your plate.
Right.
You know, the admin stuff, yeah, it is a pain in the ass. You know, VR probably, you know, I mean, a VA can help you a lot with that, but it's like, who do you trust? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you get these emails all day from people that can kind of do that. And that's been that I don't have that. I do that stuff myself because I don't trust anyone with all these like financials and stuff
Right.
like that. And especially for me, there's so much stuff that they can mess up on a client stuff that I don't need that liability.
Yeah, like it's important stuff. And like,
Yeah.
it could mean a loss.
Yeah.
Or
a lawsuit.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
which is even a bigger loss,
Yeah.
more time,
Right.
and attorneys get involved, and that's never good.
No. So that kind of stuff I shield pretty well.
That's good.
For me, it was the tech, getting someone that can kind of work and do the ads, which is very, very tedious. And then I kind of built from there to 8 employees that I have now. So, but that first one is a big jump. It really is. It's a tough one for someone to say, hey, I got to pay this person $40,000 a year, whatever it is.
Because you think about like cost of living. Like
Yeah.
you're looking for win-wins, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, sheesh, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, but then you just got to try it, I
And
guess.
it's a time. You got to say, hey, with that time that this person's doing this, I can grow. And that's usually the a point where businesses will grow to such a higher level, but they don't see that. They don't realize like, hey, yeah, I know I got to pay this person, but it's going to help me grow, make me better, and make the company better as a whole, and then we'll continue from there. It's hard for them to vision that and understand that part of it.
In like conversations I have with people, they're like, well, what if I put all this time and effort into pay the money, and then they leave, and I got to do all it's a risk.
Yeah, it's a risk you know,
take, right?
And for me, the biggest thing I look for in an employee is if they care or not. You know, no one's ever going to care as much as you as a business owner. I mean, it's just impossible. You're always going to care about your business more. But to know that someone actually legitimately cares, wants to do a good job, doesn't want to let you down, doesn't want to let your customers down, isn't going to do anything, you know, nefarious or can get you in trouble. To me, that's more important than being the best at something. Like I could teach you that stuff.
Right.
I can't teach you how to be a good person. So I look for that more in a staff, and that's why my team that I have, they've been with me for a really long time because they know they care, and they know I care about them. So
and what have you found? I'm sure it's multiple places, but where's the best place to find? Indeed, just Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, few of my employees were people that I knew already. So that and they've been the best. I mean, they absolutely have. Other than that, like I've been on I can't remember each one of them where I hired them from, but yeah, like Indeed and all the ones that are out there. I mean, you know,
typically when you're looking for a new position, how many resumes, interviews does it take to find the right person?
Yeah, that's a good question because I go off of instinct. You know, if I get 20 resumes, I mean, once I talk to them, I'm pretty confident in like who I'm actually going to hire at that point. But yeah, I mean, I don't, you know, if you get like 20 to 30 resumes, you should be able to pick one good person out of that, I think. But yeah, it's a weird process, man. Like I'm probably not like a conventional like interviewer. Like I'll ask more stuff. Like
that's good. You gotta kind of have your own process.
Yeah,
you want to customize it to whatever you're comfortable with, and that's huge.
I get a little more personal with my interviews because I kind of want to know like what people have been through, what they can overcome. A little more about their personality. You know, you kind of stalk their Facebook a little bit too, make sure they're not a psycho. And again, like that stuff's more character and is more important to me than skill in a lot of different ways. Because you could bring in someone who's the best at something, but they're a total asshole.
Right.
They'll ruin your culture at your business. They'll it'll be a nightmare and a disaster.
They're sucking your
Yeah,
energy nonstop.
it's horrible. They'll think they're better than everybody. They'll constantly be trying to get over on you. But give me a good person that I can teach, and that's way more valuable to me, for sure.
Gotcha. So some advice that I've been given and have been giving, because in real estate, really in any business, you want to make sure you're searchable on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
If someone Googles you or your business, you want to see what pops up. For us, and I guess for any business, that's usually a Google business page and a Facebook business page. Like they'll pop up.
Yeah.
Is that good advice? Do you think like that's the most important for new businesses to have?
I mean, you're probably gonna generate more business from having a Google business page than you would from Facebook. I mean, Facebook's good for referrals. If someone says, "Hey,"
I'm just talking about in general to make sure someone can find your business.
Your Google business listing is probably the most important there, and you have a little bit of an ability to actually show up in some searches, like especially maybe in your hometown.
Right.
Like if someone's here in Horsham. And, again, it's a carpet cleaner or something like that. And someone does carpet cleaner in Horsham. Like, you're probably going to show up there because that's your proximity. So you can get some good free leads that way. Like, I would definitely start there and beef up that profile as much as you possibly can. Put all the information in there, all your services, upload photos all the time. Like,
that was my next question. So how many reviews and photos do you think is like the breaking point where you'll really start to break in?
Yeah, I mean, the more reviews you can get, the better. I mean, that's something you should always constantly be working on, no matter what. 20 is a nice like little sweet spot where you can say like, hey, like Google might recognize me a little bit more, but you really want to even get closer to 50. But photos, I would upload as many as you possibly can. I mean, because what that's doing is showing Google like, hey, we're active. Like,
right.
We're constantly doing stuff. We're adding stuff to our profile. We're doing this. So I would never stop on that if you can. Upload as many as you possibly can for that.
It's good stuff. My favorite question I ask everybody. I have a tough time patting myself on the back.
Yeah.
Like what's one thing that you can like tell the entire world, because so many people watch this.
Yeah.
Like, what are you proud of yourself for, like over the past decade or however old you are?
Yeah, 42? I don't like that question either.
No, it's tough.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Especially because I'm just not done either. Like the job's not done. I know I'm going to accomplish like so much more.
Right.
So to me, like that just sticks in my head. But it sounds like cliche, but like just that I'm here. And like what I mean by that is like if you listen to society or whoever else, and even the people around you, there's so many things that a lot of people go through in their life, and myself, that most people would look at and try to give them an excuse. Like I grew up in inner city Philadelphia, right? I have a public school education from Philly. My dad died when I was 15. Man of the house at that point. My mother had some mental health issues. I had to deal with that my whole life, which, that's not easy. Put myself through college, failed out, got back in, did this, started businesses, and a slew of other crap in between that, right? Like for anyone else, people will tell, that's all right. It's okay for you to mess up. Like, oh, no, do this. Like, don't worry about it. It's okay. And for me, it's never been that. Like, I always just knew, like, whatever it is, I'll get through it, and it's going to make me better, and I'm going to accomplish whatever I want to accomplish in life. So that's probably the biggest thing for me. And just knowing, again, like, I'm not done. Like, the job's not done. Right. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep pushing. But just not falling into the idea of the excuses and crutches that people will put on you because of the bad things that you've been through your life. Like, again, it just goes back to the same thing. Like, something might not be your fault, but it's your responsibility. Like, yeah, all that stuff happened, but I can't sit around and cry about it. I got to just keep going. And a lot of people don't do that, where they listen to people around them and listen to how people tell them it should be.
It's beautiful.
Thanks, man.
It's good stuff. I'm a huge fan of anybody who's, and I don't think from what you just said, like, I've talked to a lot of people on here and just in life who have actually fell flat on their face and got up, but you've continued to you know, pick yourself up,
Yeah.
dust yourself off, you know, took accountability for mistakes that you made, you know, and when so like I say this all the time, like I don't feel like I actually like grew up until I was like 30 years old.
Oh yeah.
Like the decision making was sketchy.
Yeah,
Like, you think you're like, you know, you're an adult when you're like 18, 20, like 25, I should have things figured out. Like I was a dope. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it was so like the goal, so I'm 42, like the goal is to, and like I'm 42, thinking when I was 30, like man, I was an idiot. Like the goal is when I'm 50, like man, I hope I don't feel like I was a dope when I was 40, you know?
I think that's inevitable though, because I feel like that. I feel that way too. I mean, I feel like every threshold, like you know you were a moron in your 20s, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone is.
I thought I knew what I was doing.
Yeah, you thought it was right, and same here. But I look back at that stuff. But even now, like I'm going to turn 45 next month, and I look now, like even just like from 40 to 45, I'm like, damn, man, like I progressed so much in that time,
Yeah,
you know?
that's awesome.
Yeah, when you're 50, you're gonna look back at your 40. It's just inevitable. You're gonna be more wise. I mean, it's just the way that it is, and you know, and you like until men are 30, like we're still like half a caveman, right? And but you know, I always kind of always had a good mindset, and I always kind of knew like you know. I know what I can accomplish and I know what I can do, but yeah, I had some very sketchy decisions leading up to that for sure.
It's always good to look back and just be like, man.
Yeah.
But then you think about like where you're at now, and I do that, and I'm able to pat myself on the back a little bit because you know,
I don't take compliments well. I don't brag. I'm not a real showy person. I'm not. That's always been a little tough for me. For sure.
So before we get into the last question, tell everybody how to reach you. You know, what Instagram accounts?
Yeah, definitely.
Websites.
There's so many different ones, right? So, so for Maximus Internet Marketing, if you just Google Maximus Internet Marketing, you will find it. It's Maximus from Gladiator. That's how I started. The name I went after. So you'll find all that, my website, all my social media accounts, all that. If anyone ever has any question about marketing, feel free to reach out. For the mindset stuff, if you looked up Mindset Artistry on any of the platforms, you'll find it. But if you go to Shift Your Mindset, you'll get the link tree of all of my different profiles, the podcast, everything, the website. And then same for DIY Digital on YouTube. If you went on there, you'll see the videos I've made so far. Working on kind of doing a link tree and a website on that and putting everything in there as well. But it's about it. I mean, just use Google. Go on Google.
Google it.
Yeah.
All right. So in conclusion, if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Oh man, that's a tough one, man. Reading minds.
Oh,
yeah, read minds. That would it's game over at that point.
Mine's fly. Like I would love to fly.
That'd be pretty cool.
Traffic's the worst.
Yeah, I agree. I would have got here in like 5 minutes. It's awesome, man.
Appreciate you coming on.
Definitely, man.
Like,
really
subscribe, share, whatever. Enjoy your day. See you guys.
See you guys. Thank you.